Go ahead, Henry.
All right, we back. First thought of the day. I'm gonna keep it real simple. First thought of the day is very simply any given Sunday. A lot of folks tried to write a lot of narratives into the season. It's still young in the season, so a lot of these narratives are still to be written. But any given Sunday, KC found out, Buffalo found out, and the Chargers found out. Let's get to it, Deuce.
This is Hog Farmer Chris from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you start listening to Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it's no cost to you.
Red Zone DC presents Enters the Lab Live Show, mixing fantasy football, college football, and everything NFL with your hosts, Lady E, Mayo, Slim, C. Henry, and Deuce. We do this because we love it, not because it loves us.
Don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon. Then let's go.
And then the minute it's over, you got to pull the pants up. You always block, and then you pull up your pants.
You know, the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
Feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off the shoulders of others. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Thank you.
Welcome back to Enters the Lab Live Show. We are here with the homies. We got the Lady E, we got Henry, we got Mayo. My man Slim is on the way. What's good, y'all?
What's good?
Can I do this? Can I do this now? Since everything. It's Victory Monday.
It is happening. Officially a done deal. Sources tell me and Mike Garafolo and Tom Pelissero that Matt Ryan is being traded to the Indianapolis Colts. The deal is done. It is agreed.
Middle, breaks a tackle at the 40, breaks another in midfield, and Pitts down the sideline. Gonna go deep, down the middle, and the kick is made inside the 40-yard line by Kyle Pitts. Between two defenders, Kyle Pitts caught it. It was a low throw. Second and 10 for Mariota. Goes with the sideline throw. Pitch out. Patterson. Good cut. Patterson breaks a tackle. And he's in. Last week. Wide open is Patterson across midfield. Fence off Morgan Ryan. Matt Ryan fighting. Ryan throws it. Breaks a tackle to the goal line. Washington rush for Patterson in the end zone. He's got it again. First down. Throws it. Oh, one-hander. Patterson is in.
Yes, my boys. Yes. About freaking time, man. Like, real talk. We could have been 3-0 already in the season. But I'm not going to lie. I have Falcons PTSD because when Mariota and Algier made that fumble right there, I thought it was over. I was like, okay, this is the third week in a row. This is about to write its narrative, and here we go again. So shout out to Richie Grant for selling that too as well. Boys fought hard for that win, but the only thing that we're gonna have to start throwing little stones at Dan Pease, because I was kind of upset with him in that defense on Sunday. But a W is a W, so I'm gonna celebrate it for the week. Mariota still gonna get talked about, but we we rocking though.
He can't get 1 week of grace.
No, not 1 week of grace. I'm sorry, not 1 week of grace. I'm sorry. Again, if it wasn't for the likes of Cordero, Drake London, they finally getting Pitts involved. See what happens when you put Pitts involved. That opens up Drake London. Even shout out to that offensive line. Defense ain't getting nothing. AJ Terrell did better. He still had his little mixed cues. Michael Walker was showing out. He still got to, show me some things. But other than that, no, Mariota still doesn't get a grace period. I mean, see, Henry was in my spaces. He saw that. He saw
him catching a little hell in there. But hey, man, that's what happens, man. That's what happens when you want these, saying on the come. I don't want to say downtrodden, but on the come up.
Hey, on the come up. I mean, again, Marcus Mariota better showed up against Geno Smith. If he got out there by Geno Smith, it's gonna be a problem. Like I said, I was gonna meet him at Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport, and when they get off the plane, they was all gonna have to line up, all 53.
All right, man. Enough of that Victory Monday stuff.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Welcome to Mopey Mondays. Welcome to Mopey Mondays.
Mopey Mondays. That's hilarious.
Let me shine in my grace, okay?
Go ahead.
Mopey
the
Mondays.
NFC South is full of bunch of mids right now. The NFC South is a bunch of mids at this point. Even I'm looking at y'all Bucks fans, so y'all can come get me anyway. I'm looking at y'all too.
Do your thing.
NFC South ain't number mids right now.
Mopey mids.
How was y'all week? How was y'all weekend, man? Overall, man.
Good.
It was good.
Good. Lions would have made it a little, would have put a cherry on top of everything, but everything is not always good, man. But yeah, it was all right. Made it through.
Maryland could have pulled that out against Michigan. That would have been sweet.
That wouldn't have helped me. That wouldn't have helped me. We needed that joke, but we needed that game. It was good to.
That was a good game
face some non-cupcake. Competition.
Speaking of college football, man, let's get into a couple games, man. We got Let's talk about Arkansas and Texas A&M. What was your initial thoughts, man?
You already know they shut down the city of Arlington, so traffic was very much hell at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night. But I mean, again, I think Texas A&M needed this win, after a hellish loss to Appalachian State. I think it's not going to do them any good moving forward unless, something just happens over there in the West. Arkansas is a pretty tough cookie this season. I will give them that. Sam Pittman got them boys rocking and rolling over there. KJ Jefferson did his thing. The highlight of the game for me was when I forgot the running back name, but when he tried to hurdle over everybody to make that touchdown and he fumbled the ball and it ended up with a fumble recovery. Then old dude was like, nah, bro, give me the ball. I got this. Scoop and then scored. That was the highlight of the game. I have never seen that. Dude was just like, give me the ball. I got this. And I think that's what really sent the Aggies up, because after that, Arkansas just could not respond to them, and it was just over at that point. So it shows that Texas A&M is still trying to fight teeth and nail. And again, they're going to have to see Alabama this year. So, and that's in Bama this year. So hopefully they can get their strikes together to try to come back. But again, Texas A&M needed this win. But shout out to Arkansas though. I'm not gonna sleep on Arkansas. They are a very tough and up and coming program this year. So Alabama fans, watch out, because don't sleep on them, because they're a little sneaky this year too. I will give them that. They went up 14-0, and I thought game was over at that point.
Man, like when you do certain plays like that, it can change the whole momentum of the game, right? He can either hold on to the ball, get into the end zone, right? It's a play where you look at it and you say, we got to get this win. I got to do everything that I can to get this win. And you try it, and then it completely backfires.
Oh yeah.
What's the conversation you had with that player after the game as the coach?
I mean, from experience, seeing Georgia struggle against Kent State.
Oh, I'm about to say, I thought you jumped over the line at the goal line. from experience. I'm going to say, oh, okay.
I mean, I did a little power puff back in my day. You know, I was a little Earl Thomas Mini playing safety back there.
Okay, I see.
But no, just looking at that, again, one thing I like about coaches like Kirby Smart, I like about Nick Saban, even Deion Sanders, is like you coach them up right there in that moment. You explain to them and you still give them another chance. You don't bench them, you don't sit them, you don't do anything. So at that moment, that talk with that player is like, hey, mistake happens, get your head back in the game so we can go ahead and get it. Again, the professionals fumble. They fumble all the time. And they get right back in there. And I promise you probably won't see them fumble for the rest of the game or for the rest of the season at that, So, again, it's just like, hey, any given Sunday, any given Saturday, you just never know. You want to play a clean game and play your style of football, but sometimes that doesn't happen when the other opponent is hungry and they want this. Texas A&M didn't have a good first half. They couldn't get anything going. And then finally, that really changed them and that put that fear, even though they did lost one of their star players on offensive line. Shout out to him too, because that's, this is it, and then you get injured like that, it's just a sad moment, but at the same token, they came out with the win and you can tell that they was fighting. Even, I'm not a fan of Jimbo, but just even listening and hearing Jimbo talk, you know what I mean? You can tell that there was passion, that he was encouraging and trying to get them to go, but still Sam Pittman was still doing what he was doing. But again, that change of momentum, that was it. Once you change that momentum in the ball game, it's over.
Yeah, man, that's true. So speaking of Maryland, right? Maryland came in hot, man. That was one of them. We haven't had this much excitement in Maryland in a long time. You saw some of it last year, but of course it withered away as it usually does here in Maryland. But it was a lot of excitement. They came into that game, man. The first quarter they played really, really well. But Michigan, powerhouse, you can't do but so much. What was your thoughts, Henry?
Oh man, it was a great game, man. Much more competitive than I expected. I did expect Maryland to come in, you know what I'm saying, and make a game of it probably for the first half, maybe even 3 quarters. I will say this, Coach Loxley's done a wonderful job up there in terms of recruiting, in terms of getting that program turned around, getting some folks from the South to come in there. So he's gotten a very athletic squad in there. And, he's been at it for a couple of years now, you know what I'm saying? He comes from the Alabama, coaching tree. So, you're going to expect big things from him. And he's doing good things there, man. I knew that, young Tua Talea, whatever his name is a very very game quarterback. He made a couple of mistakes in the game. He threw a couple of picks, and I think he got a little shook up early. They were able to get after him a little bit, had a couple of sacks, and then he ended up leaving the game. Now the crazy part is the backup came in. Mm-hmm. And after seeing a series from the backup, I'm like, well, y'all should have had him in the whole game because he was a problem. He took him right down and scored, got him in position to, to win the game. Luckily, I think this is a game where Michigan probably just made less mistakes than Maryland. I think Maryland had 3 overall turnovers. One of them was real shaky. I will say that. The interception was very shaky, and that kind of changed the complexion of the game. Michigan played a relatively clean game, no turnovers whatsoever. Only gave up 2 sacks. Blake Corum had a game of his life, 30 carries, 243 yards, literally put the team on his back and carried them to the win and 2 touchdowns. McCarthy, he left a couple plays on the field, but didn't make any crucial turnovers. So I think that was the key to that game, that victory. And again, first time we playing somebody from the Big Ten Conference, first time we playing somebody from a Power 5 conference. So first time we got a chance to see that speed and athleticism that we're going to be seeing week in and week out. So, it's always good to learn your lessons during a win.
That's a good one.
Shoot, hey, we can speak on that too, because yeah.
That's the same thing. I think when you talking about Maryland, even though I think they still have a lot of building to do. Loxley, he's doing a wonderful job with that program. I think he's about 4 or 5 years late on actually getting that job. I think he should have got that job before. What was the last guy name? I can't think of his name, man.
Now there was a
My
guy
friend
from
remember.
Michigan there for a minute who had a little bit of a problem. Durkin was that the
Durkin.
Yeah,
he should have. I think that was his time then. But I think they wanted to go to someone with proven history from a proven school, especially when they knew they was gonna make that jump. But it just didn't work out. Like Merlin is different. You know what I mean? Like you need someone that has some sort of ties here. And I think that even though he did, I just think Loxley should have had that job first. But it's Tennessee for real. They jumped to the polls last week. Look like they may jump a little bit this week. Are they for real?
They jumped. No, they
already. Oh yeah, it's Monday.
They're both in the Tennessee and the University of Kentucky are both in the top 10. So, respectfully, I don't know their number, but I'm gonna say this as defending national champs, we can't sleep on them. Well, since Slim's not here, I kind of watched that game a little bit too. But to be honest with you, what I seen, Hooker, I don't know why nobody didn't think about him in the beginning of the preseason, why everybody was all on AR, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Hooker is better than AR. I'm not gonna side. I think he's a little bit more scary. And I'm kind of thinking that at this point, Georgia is going to have to really watch out for Tennessee. We play them at home, but we will. They're a threat. They're a threat, and Kentucky is too. With that, but I hate to say this. Florida, I'm not sure what Billy Napier's system really is over there. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think that's whatever system it is, I don't think it's fitting what the personnel that he has right now. Because that game, don't get me wrong, they was going back and forth. They was dueling. They was doing what they was supposed to do. Yeah. But I felt like the heart was more in it for Hooker. He showed out. I was literally paying attention more to him. And then AR is just, again, I never saw the hype even when Emory Jones went down last year and they brought him in. It was okay, but I feel like they just got a person that's just a running back there. I think he's just a one-trick pony, unfortunately. Because even with some of the passes, don't get me wrong, some of them passes were good, but Hooker, that's all I'm gonna say, man. Bruh, they got something brewing over there in Tennessee. Seriously.
It was good to see Tennessee win because I definitely had some questions about him. I'm gonna give a shout out to my homeboy, Masai Reddick, man, is a freshman down there from Cass. So always shout out the Detroit boys who down there. So man, Florida, man, a bigger question. I mean, is Florida a fraud, man? I mean, that's the big question.
Big fraud.
You gotta call them FF, Florida fraud, because I mean, it was a good game, but I expected more Florida. I'm glad that, Tennessee did pull it out because now we do have, I root for, the SEC as a conference. I root for the Big Ten, of course, but I root for the SEC as a conference. But I do become a little bit, as an outsider in, but I do become a little bit upset when I don't see other teams outside of Georgia and Alabama really, stunting. So I do want to see some of the other teams come up. And I'm glad Tennessee, they got, I love the orange, man. You know what I'm saying? And when they're doing well, college football seems to be a little bit better. So I'm eager to see, like you said, them in Kentucky. Kentucky got 3 of our boys down there from, Detroit who playing prominent roles down there. Shout out to DeAndre Square and Justin Rodgers. So I'm eager to see them boys really come up and see if they can really hang with the big dogs and play Georgia and Alabama in some tough games, man.
Their game is the Tennessee and Kentucky. Like I was telling a friend today, they play the same day we play Florida, October 29th. So circle that date.
Oh, good one,
okay. That's gonna be very good.
A beast weekend.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, because at that point, if Georgia beats Florida,
wait a minute.
What do you say?
Wait a minute. The slander. I'm not dealing with this today.
Did I miss it?
What you say, Mayo? Hold on. What do you say?
It's on there.
No, it's gonna be a beast.
No, you see?
Oh, you talking on the screen?
Yeah, I just put the comment from my man Hawk TV. You see it?
Oh Lord.
I appreciate you jumping in, Hawk, man.
Yeah, nah. But yeah, just circle October 29th though. October 29th is going to definitely be
I can't wait.
What decides the SEC East at that point. Georgia already knows going to take care of Florida, but we got to see who's going to come out with Tennessee and the University of Kentucky, because we don't play them until November 5th and then November, I want to say like November 20th, but we don't play them until those 2 dates. So one of the teams is going to be room for the other at that point. So it's gonna come down to it. So just keep an eye out on it though, because it's about to get good.
Before we move on, do y'all think AI is showing enough consistency to really make noise for the Gators?
Nah. What year? I mean, if he's just a redshirt freshman or something like that, then he's got time. But to E's point, you know, what they doing down there? What we running? We running the spread, we running the pro style. What we doing out here?
Right. Air raid, what are we doing?
Because I don't see a real semblance of an offense or a real consistent style. So what exactly is he? Is he a running quarterback? Is he a dual threat quarterback? Is he a quarterback who can make plays from the pocket, who can run? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's kind of like he's running a Delaware wing T at times back there. He's another running back there.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think it is. I mean, his stats clearly show that. I mean, I don't even think he really has even, and correct me if I'm wrong, if he even has hit over 200 yards in a game.
In terms of passing?
200 passing yards in a game. Everything has been rushing.
I think he got three something against Tennessee.
He got 3 against Tennessee.
But it doesn't seem like it's impactful though.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
You can't be like I always say, you can't be
let me see. I
having
think he had
400 yards in a game and still lose.
And then sometimes, depending on the offense, some of these throws are kind of manufactured. You see offense, and you see a lot of bubble screens, and you may see a little, you may see a go route off the bubble screen. So it's kind of things are kind of, you know what I'm saying, kind of build off each other, but they're really not concepts. They're not route concepts, route combinations. We're gonna run this to, you know what I'm saying, open this up over the top, or we're gonna run this underneath it. If they take over the top away, these route combinations underneath are gonna be open. I'm not seeing that consistency from them. It's just kind of like, plug, take a shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's a redshirt sophomore, I believe.
Okay. So he got a couple more years, hopefully.
Yeah, because he stepped in last year, and I think he
stepped in last year, and then it wasn't nothing set up. So I mean, he's kind of learning right now. He's in this learning mode right now. I think there's a little too much hype for him right now.
And the thing too is
he's 21 too. Let me see.
Oh, he's older too. Yeah.
Yeah, because see, the issue that I have with it is like, what is the offense? That's my question. Like, is Billy Napier just looking at it like, oh, we finna, run you like how they did and ran Cam Newton into the ground in Carolina? Like, because that's basically what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just confused at what it is. You know what I mean? Like, exactly what it is that they're doing.
Right.
He's a 21-year-old sophomore. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, they have other they can run the ball. They got some running backs. They can do that too, to take pressure over him. They're literally having him try to do everything.
They got some receivers too.
They got receivers too. They actually are pretty good. They're a good team.
So is it Napier? Is it Napier?
Well, they might.
I'll be honest with you again. It could be. It could be they're not knowing the system or not understanding it, or Billy Napier don't know what to do with him. He doesn't have a set forth, system of what he can envision of what they're going to be. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's really just, again, I'm gonna call it for what it is. They frauds this year. We'll catch them next year. Because you can't have 3 losses in the SEC and think you really finna go somewhere.
You're already losers.
All right, man. Hartford and DJ, man, they put on a clinic this past weekend, man. Clemson and Wake Forest. Them dudes put on a clinic, man. They were slinging that ball left and right. Anybody get a chance to catch up on that game? What was y'all first thoughts, especially with Wake Forest? I mean, they fought that game, man. And with the loss, I'm not too keen on how the top 25 list works though, but I don't think they should go down. But I know, like you said, some teams came in. I'm gonna pull a list up while y'all kind of discuss it.
I think they actually did drop one or two from when I looked at it, and I think Clemson did rise. But I think we finally saw what we needed to see from Clemson. I feel like DJ, their quarterback, I think he's finally kind of getting it together, which is a little bit too late, in my honest opinion, especially with the hype that he had. But shout out to Wake Forest, though. I saw a little bit of it, but shout out to Wake Forest. They battled to the end there. Really did. Battled all the way into the end.
You say it's too late. It's only week 3. Ain't they still undefeated?
No. Again, when Georgia played them last year, played Clemson last year, the hype around him was impeccable. And then for him to do what he did last season, and then still, have his ups and downs. He didn't look great against Georgia Tech. Yeah, they won, but he did not look good against Georgia Tech. You know what I mean?
They did play better toward the stretch last year, toward the end. They started off really, really, really bad. Literally everybody was like, what is going on with Clemson? And they picked it up. And I feel like they were going to try to roll in this season, and they playing well. But I mean, the ACC is literally
there we go.
Like, whoa, they much more competitive, than they've been in like last 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah,
they got some teams in the ACC this year. They are actually bringing it. We just talked about Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, Miami. Wow.
Yeah, see, they got their fraudulent card pulled. Middle Tennessee State. Somebody did them boys bad this weekend. Man.
They probably, they were feeling themselves. They was feeling themselves. I believe they still gonna be competitive in the conference, no question.
Man,
I mean, not saying they're gonna win it, but they don't be competitive.
So right now we have 15 undefeated teams in top 25. The first 11 is undefeated. Clemson stayed pat at 5, and Wake Forest stayed pat at 22. But
that's a good deal.
Wake Forest surprised me. I definitely want to check out the game because I've heard a lot about Sam Hartman, but I haven't really.
He was dialing, man.
That's why I said they was fighting to the end.
Yeah, he put it together pretty well. And
that's good.
Traditionally not a football power. Traditionally not known for their talent that they bring in there. I think that was a great showing for them. But again, Clemson, man, giving up 45 to Wake Forest, big time game. I just don't know. DJ, that was probably his best game ever because, like you said, he came in there very, very hyped. But it's hard to follow up Trevor, though, man. Trevor was a beast there, man. You know what I'm saying? Some beast. And I don't think that when you look at that roster right now, it's a good roster, but I don't see a T. Higgins and some of them other guys that they had in the year past. I don't know if I see a young
it's probably a
win on that team right now. You know what I'm saying? So they solid, but I don't think they where they were for a while.
Yeah, I think what it is Clemson is now finally kind of hit that stagger in recruiting a little bit. It might not be that hot school that everybody wants to go to right now. You know what I mean? So
it may be some more money at the mother school. NIL money gonna kick in.
Man. NIL when really starts. I always said, man, you give it 10 years to see how it really affects these powerhouses. We just need some time.
You don't see when them boosters, because shout out to Auburn. Boosters is controlling that right now, so I don't.
Oh my god!
They need to put more money in the pot, then, because they out there looking kind of shaky too.
They trying to, but to be perfectly honest with you, it might take Auburn a little bit longer because they about to part ways with this coach after this season. They are
man. Like this NIL is people. It's not only going to affect players, right? And schools, but it's going to affect coaching staffs. You know what I'm saying? Like when these boosters, that it's legal now, and they get to come up with any type of flashlight NIL deal to this guy right here, $2 million flash. This is
man at Ohio State. He just flat out told like, listen, man, to run a program like y'all wanted to run at the efficiency y'all wanted to run, I need $18 million. That's what Ryan Day said. The coach. I don't know what y'all need to do, but we 18 mil it is.
Yeah, no, but I mean, hey, that
pull your resources together, do something.
Hey,
bless us.
All I'm gonna say is Nick Saban had a good, legit argument that he basically called out his boosters. You want us to do this? I need y'all to drop some more money. That's a call out to the boosters.
Y'all
like
better
where
get
y'all
them on, y'all better get them on a Love and Marriage Alabama. Y'all better get them on Huntsville.
Okay, so right now they
Huntsville.
And look, they having the same. They don't have to have those secret meetings no more. They could just come straight out and say it now.
Open now. Yeah, it's out in the open now. Because like I said, it's like come get the money. Shout out to Texas A&M with they boosters because they boosters knew what it is. But again, like I said, that oil money is some good money out here in Texas.
Yeah, man, that oil money, man.
Hey, but you know, like Alabama is, some of them migrated from Texas, so a lot of that alumnus in Alabama and Auburn, they came from Texas, so
they got some of that Texas money.
They got some of that Texas money too.
Hey, they got it. I'm gonna need them to start.
They got to. Hey, pops.
Because I mean, you see how much Texas threw out at Archie Manning just for him to come for a weekend. Let alone they running back got a damn Lamborghini NIL deal. So holla at your girl.
my Texas, now that you speak of it.
That's crazy.
We spoke about it a couple weeks ago, but the QB, Ewers or whatever his name is, he was the one who went to Ohio State, got the 100.
Oh yeah, he went to South Lake Carroll out here.
Then got the truck and then transferred to Texas and got whatever they offer. You know what I'm saying? So he probably
they can't do nothing about
it. To 2-3 stacks.
They can't do nothing about it.
No, they actually did. Before we go on, dudes, they actually did a segment out here because he went to South Lake Carroll. And South Lake Carroll is a prominent high school out here that if you want to play football, you go to South Lake Carroll. So he literally said the only reason he left school and decided to forego his senior year was because Ohio State was giving him that NIL deal. That was the only reason why he left. That $1 million NIL deal caused him to forego his senior year to go up there, and he should have just went to Texas. He could have stayed, his senior year.
Go get that money, come on back. He came back right in time. They about to go to the SEC. They played Alabama. He did it just right.
Exactly. There you go. So that's legitimately what it is. So again, these kids are taking in that NIL deal, and they're taking it serious. So if he's foregoing his senior year just so he can go enroll early in college so he can get that money.
Skip that homecoming. Has to get the money.
Exactly. That's what it is. So he got that truck and got that money. He was living large and taking charge. So
he can buy his own prom and buy his own homecoming. He can pay that out of his own pocket. No big deal.
Exactly. At this point. So, and again, I'm going to throw this out here because South Lake Carroll is not one of these, not like a I guess you can say, I don't want to call it for what it is, but it's a Snootyville. So he's not coming from somebody that ain't got no money. That was just extra money in his pocket.
He might got one of them strict parents.
Could be.
It's the way to get started right here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some NFL, but first, let's just take care of some bills.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
All right, so look, before we go to NFL, I did want to bring up Florida State. Are they real? And they got a big test because they got Wake Forest on Saturday. So I think
jury's still out on Florida State.
Yeah, jury's still out. I agree.
They got Wake Forest this weekend, so
this will be their test.
Let's see after Wake Forest. We had a measuring stick with Wake Forest. We see where they at. Let's see where they at. Now,
What
Florida
was
I
their first game? What was their first game of the season for them? Because it was just a bunch of like
LSU.
there was special teams and stuff like that. So they
Is
won.
there-
I want to see a little more of them.
Is there a quarterback back? They're starting quarterbacks. I know he got hurt in that last game.
He played against Boston College. That's
He
what you
did.
talking
I
about?
think
Okay,
he
so
back.
it wasn't that serious. Okay,
Yeah. Your video off too, E.
it is.
Mm-hmm. I figured you ain't know.
Yeah, I didn't. It's back on.
It's not.
It ain't okay. Drop me and I'll come back.
Right.
Something blocking that hat. That's what it was.
That's probably what it is.
Haters.
All right, let's talk about the Rams. All right, so I want to go to Rams first, and then I want to ask y'all a serious question about Klingsburry. Matthew Stafford still doesn't look like himself, or see Henry, you would know, is he still actually looking like himself?
He'll have a stinker. He'll have a stinker from time to time.
I'm just saying, like the collection of all three games, because we only saw him on prime time. But is this actually who Matthew Stafford is?
3 games in, yeah, you've seen a good game, you've seen a bad game, you've seen a mediocre game. So for the most part, this is probably what he is. He's going to give you more good than bad, no doubt, but he's going to have a stinker in there built in. Now, I will say this: I think that he's become extremely comfortable and reliant on Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
I will say that. I think that honestly, just looking at them, I don't think he has the same. How should I say it? He doesn't have the same. Having a brain fart here. I don't think he's as confident. That's one word I'm looking for. As confident in his O-line as he's been in the past. So now he's a little shaky with the O-line. He has an elbow issue. He has a lingering back issue that he had from here. He's comfortable with Kupp. He doesn't know if he has enough time to find some of these other guys, and I think he's forcing the ball to Kupp. I think when he's 100% confident and 100% comfortable in the offense, you'll see him spray the ball all around. But right now, I think he has to get a little bit more confidence in that line up front and his body.
So what you think, Mayo? So it looks like he did scan the field a little bit more in the Cards game, right? He does seem he's relying on Coop. As you know, Coop looks to be his first progression every play, but he did spread the ball around. But my concern is Allen Robinson. It just seems like they don't have a connection.
Connection is like they don't. But the thing is, I mean, Allen Robinson, you got to think of some of the weapons they had last year. Like at this point last year, they had Robert Woods. He was balling until he got.
They thought that's who he
injured.
was going to replace, though, right?
Yeah. What's the young kid? Can't get his name.
Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson, and he's not back, and he was
OBJ
part for them. OBJ. Well, they have OBJ at this point, but last year their weapons were pretty solid.
And he was spreading it around.
And he was able to spread the ball. And then when the injury started taking apart, coming down with them, and then here we go. It's like what he's looking at right now. All he had was Cooper Kupp for a moment until OBJ finally figured out the offense and how to contribute into it. Because right when Robert Woods got hurt, they was actually struggling the same way they are right now. And Stafford had the elbow issues.
Well, they said he had it all last year, though. I mean, that's what they say.
Well, didn't really look like as far as the ball, throwing the ball, right? He was throwing the ball. He was pushing the ball pretty fluent, in my opinion. This year, he's struggling a little bit. I think, because he had the surgery now, and sometimes that makes
maybe that's what it is.
The difference. So I don't think 100% yet.
And don't sleep. Everybody had a whole off season to study and look and pry and figure out what they did, and they won. You know what I mean? So everyone's gonna try to figure out how to stop them. No doubt about it. They feel like the road goes through the road goes through LA, so they're trying to beat them.
Right. That's a key point, man. Everybody's been caught up to what they're trying to do. They still have not put together a run game. A consistent run game that actually McVay, that's his bread and butter, man. Everything comes off of that run game. And they really haven't still been able to put together because of the injuries at the running backs. They just have not been able to really get it going in part of the offensive line. So it's early, man. They got to get healthy. And and continuity, which that was brought up. You know, C.C. Henry brought that up. That continuity, that's a big thing, man. You know, once they get that going and Stafford feels a little more comfortable physically, I think it'll spread out a little bit better. Get Van Jefferson back, you know, and they make moves, man. They not other teams. They will make a trade if they have to. You know, they'll do something. They not like a lot of teams. The Rams, because they in that window, they want to keep winning, so they will,
definitely in that window.
They will give up assets and try to get something to try to help if that's what's needed. They will do that.
Yeah, man, I just think that, and then with OBJ, you know, if he does decide to come back, it seemed like Stafford really trusted him, and he was also like a target. It looked like he wasn't just honing in on cut when he had OBJ.
Is he signed? Is he signed? Or he's still a free
He's
agent,
probably
right?
going to wait until he's cleared a couple weeks.
Someone where he rehabbing at? Are they allowing him?
I'm quite sure. Nah, because he's not on the team, but I'm quite sure it's over there though.
Okay.
I think he lives in LA now. So
he want to stay in LA. He's in LA. He wants to stay there.
And he got the newborn and all that stuff. So he's gonna take.
He'll campaign to get back on that team if that's the case, and they can use him if he's healthy when he's healthy.
Yeah, he's gonna be that guy that kind of come real close to the playoffs to decide who he thinks is gonna give him that better opportunity to win a chip. But let's go over to Cliff. At one point, will Cliff be on a hot seat this season? E, let me start with you, E, because you came back in.
Yeah.
No. He been on the hot seat.
Oh, he's already on it.
He been on the hot seat. I don't know when.
What you say?
Smoking.
It's news to you that he ain't. What?
Like, baby, that seat been hot. I mean, y'all. The first thing is when y'all got D Hop. And y'all didn't know how to really use him like that. Like, you know what I mean? We seen D Hop ball the heck out over there in the Texas, and then you get him, and then I haven't heard D Hop. You know, like, again, he didn't almost fell out the face of the earth. I forgot he still played in the league, to be honest with you. So yeah, that seat's been spoken, honey. I mean, and even after what I heard that they made Kyler Murray read or something like that was in his contract or something like that. Baby, that's been a hot seat. I don't even know why they even plugged him from Texas Tech. They need to plug him back.
Reading is fundamental.
He had 58. He had 58 pass attempts on yesterday.
Wow.
What you think, Henry?
So who we talk? Which one? Who we talking about? We talking about Cliff, or we talking about little Kyrie Jr.? Which one I thought?
Kyrie.
What we talking about?
We talking about Cliff. We talking about Cliff.
We talking about the first K. Don't even want to first K. You know what I'm saying? Cliff KK. We call him KK.
KK.
KK he's part of the new age coach. I mean, I hate to say it, but it looks like he has a little privilege, and he's part of the new NFL apprentice coaching program that has Nathaniel Hackett is in there.
Oh, man.
My coach Dan Campbell belongs in there. Looks like he's part of the apprentice program, and they learning on the job. So for me, Cliff, he was supposed to be some type of offensive guru. He had the pleasure of coaching Patrick Mahomes. I believe they gave him some credit for kind of creating him or whatever. But I knew that he was going to have some problems initially when they said that the way he coached his offense, he taught one person, one position, and he just held you there. You never could really move. Like you see the first season of him calling plays, like he never moved D-Hop from his one spot. He never moved him to the other side of the formation. He just didn't do that. So I knew automatically he's a little rudimentary in terms of his coaching. You know what I'm saying? I know middle school coaches who teach multiple spots to guys and move guys around.
Right.
A little bit. Right. There was going to be a little bit more of a coaching curve that he was going to have to learn. But I will say this:
he shouldn't have been hired, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, you know how it go.
I know how it goes.
You know what? He's handsome. You never know who he know. You know what I'm saying? It's all about who you know. You know what I mean?
He's more than handsome.
But with KK, man, I don't know if he's that guy. I think he's gotten a little bit better, and then we're gonna talk about Kyrie Jr. Kyler. I don't know where he is, because like you said, 58 attempts, 300 yards. You know, people talking about Lamar, I mean, they give him all type of criticism. They talk about, folks talking about Josh Allen today doing 400 yards, 60 attempts. He only scored 17 points or something like that, 19 points, 2 touchdowns. This boy threw the ball 58 times, 340. They ain't even scored a touchdown. He making $100 and some million too, like 135 guaranteed too. We need to start having a conversation. And I got him on a fantasy team for the first time ever, and I'm looking at him a little harder than I normally look at him. Mm. We need to have some conversations about Kyler and that language that was put into his contract. Unfortunately, I'm not saying it should have been there, but I am saying that it was a reason we ain't seen it before, and it's a reason that they decided to put it in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they was acting funny to him. I think they was like, listen, we see some of the talent that you may not see in yourself, but we need you to do the work, young man. To much whom is given, much is expected. And this is what we need from you. We don't need Call of Duty all night. We need you on this tablet, son. Call of Duty ain't paying you nothing. Call of Duty right now. Maybe they didn't get it. No,
it is. It's actually, it is.
I mean, yeah, now, but we need you.
You got to stream it
on here. You need you Call of Duty right up here. You need you to find and shoot people up in here.
I thought that was Big Ben.
Some of these opposing defenses. That's what you need to do.
I thought that was Uncle Ben from Spider-Man telling him the much is what is the book?
Yeah. Much is given, much is required.
Much is given. Yeah, I feel like.
Listen, man, you start getting that Deshaun Watson money, man. We expect some touchdowns, man. We don't want to hear no 20-12, man. Yeah, that's not gonna get it.
Well, I mean, but how much can we blame on that on the coaching and development? How can we not blame KK when he's out there? You want him to learn. Are y'all actually teaching? Can we say that? Like it can't be all on the quarterback. Are y'all out there teaching? Are y'all out there developing? Are y'all out there showing him where he's making his mistakes? Like I just don't like that for it. I don't like that for it.
Maybe all the mistakes is pointed out on the tablet, man. They keep telling you.
Right.
It's on the tablet, son.
Reading is fundamental. It's you got it right there on the tablet.
All he looking at is the good highlights. He don't see the tab with the correction.
We need, you know what I'm saying? Put the tracker on the tablet, man. See if he checked in. He need to check in, man.
Check in from A to B, C. Come on, stop going from A to Y. What are you doing?
The Raiders game. I don't know if he went in at half because the first half he looked terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was him, KK, or what. But the second half, I don't know if he took 10 minutes, looked at the tablet or what. But it started.
They probably took him in the room. They probably took him in his little room.
But on the real tip though, when I look at him and I see all these
all these floor pads and all these children's books, they probably took him in that room.
I don't see that special player. I don't see a Deshaun Watson yet.
Yeah, man.
I don't see a Lamar yet. So I need to see more from Kyler.
I do too, man.
No.
All right.
I might not see a Dak. I might not see a Dak Prescott yet.
Ooh, that's a low blow.
That is. That's a very.
I'm just let me stop before we get that heat.
Hey, I don't care. I live out here. I'm gonna say it. Jerry Jones said he wanted a quarterback controversy. Cooper Rush.
Hold on.
Rush is gonna take
we
the
gonna
Cowboys
get there.
to the Super Bowl.
We gonna get there. Lady E, let's talk about the Broncos. Let's talk about San Fran. Of course, Trent Williams is down. Actually, he's gonna be out against the Rams.
For a month.
He got a high ankle, so
okay,
that's gonna be a few weeks.
I saw him walk off. They brought this card out for him. He walked off.
Yeah, he's a heart of that team. What do we look? I just like I was talking to Henry about it, I think the other day. I just don't see Denver. Like I just don't believe in Denver. I don't believe in Russell. It's like Russell Westbrook. He looks chubby to me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
You mean
he don't?
You mean Wilson?
I mean, what I saying? Not Westbrook.
Westbrook.
You said light. You said light. So I thought you was comparing them. But I know Brody don't. Brody ain't never. He ain't never.
Actually, Brody said that he don't mind coming off the bench. He can do whatever he can. So I was reading that yesterday. That's probably why he was on my mind.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson, man,
we gonna do this.
But Russell Wilson, man, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Talk to me, E.
No, it's not just you. I brought this up last night. I said, Russell Wilson doesn't look like the same person. He really doesn't. He does not look like the same person. He does not look like the person that we saw him in Seattle. And I don't know if it's because of the coaching or whatever, but I'm just like, dude, you seen the 49ers I don't know how many times. Okay, you didn't see them how many times? You just seen them last season. There shouldn't be no reason why you and your coach didn't come together to have a strategic game plan against that defense. Should not have been. And it didn't look fluid to me. It seems like he's now like, forcing the ball. It was a couple of plays where I said, okay, they're gonna Russell Wilson. There he go right there. But I don't know if it's because of just the new team, the coach, or whatever it is. Because I mean, we did have a game of defenses last night. Not gonna lie, it was a game of defenses. But at the same token, I don't even think at this point we've seen the real or whatever the case. But I think we're finally seeing the real Jimmy Garoppolo and kind of why San Francisco wanted to part ways and do transition shot offenses because the offense weren't showing nothing last night. They said that was like the 50th time in NFL history or something like that the score ended up 11-10. So again, that a game of defenses, and again both of the offenses just weren't clicking. I mean, Russell over there missing Judy, missing Judy, missing him.
I think he's supposed to be back this week.
So
he's supposed to be back this upcoming week, I think.
I'm gonna have to say, man, Deuce, you spoke about, Russ and my man, C-Lou, Clue, whatever we want to call him, he spoke about Russ. And I ain't see it, man. I was a believer, man, but I ain't gonna lie to you. After a couple of these games of Denver, I'm not seeing MVP Super Bowl Russ no more. Now, I'm not saying like my man Joe came over and said that he is Kirk Cousins.
Oh no!
But Kirk the Jerk looked good though. He looked good compared.
Kirk was spreading around yesterday.
Last couple games. So. Hey Deuce, man. Hey man, you might be on to something, man. I don't want to say he washed. You know what I'm saying? He might be lost in love or lost in somewhere else, but he needs an awakening. Though they're a little.
Leave me out of this.
He hasn't been the same since that hand injury.
This might be lost in life. You know what I'm saying? He might be Lilin. He might be Lil and lost in life.
I called it the opposite of the sunken place. That's where it seems like he is. It's the opposite of the sunken place.
But again, though, let's get him a couple weeks. Let's get the coach some time to get his stuff together because he had to go get him a game planner, this past week. Somebody to make, game planning decisions while he called a play. So, maybe they'll tighten their stuff up. That's the first time I ever heard that before. I'll get you a game planning coach real quick.
I mean, my thing is that all of that, Russ ain't making the plays on the field, yo. I mean, he was missing guys. I mean, horribly missing guys. I mean, I usually don't digress in a football game, but because the quarterback play last night was just so horrible, I just didn't even I got to like late in the fourth quarter, and I just like, man, I'm done. I don't even want to look at this no more. And I get the defenses are very good, no question about that. And a hot take for me is DeMeco Ryans will be a head coach in this league this coming season.
He should be.
That dude is legit. I'm telling you. The quarterbacks was just bad. Russ was just bad, man. I mean, some of the easy throws I don't know he can make. But since that hand injury him last year, man, he has not been the same, man. He has not been the same.
Good point. Now, as far as porn star Jimmy, man, man, it was like night and day between the 2 weeks. Last week he came in, he looked like he was the guy, and then last night just reminded us why San Fran drafted this young man from North Dakota State raw and was willing to wait a year for this man because Jimmy G he didn't. I mean, 10 points. You got Debo, you got AU. You got
he ain't connecting nothing
10
last
points.
night.
And you forgot that you in the back of the end
zone.
zone.
The man stepped at the back of the end zone.
And you lose by one.
You step out the back of the end zone.
Everybody
but the thing was, if he didn't, it was
now looking shaking their head like, man, when is Trey coming back?
It was going to be a 50 step out of the end zone.
So,
either way, he was giving up points.
Exactly. My thing is we finally saw the real Jimmy Garoppolo of what the 49ers were saying the whole time. It is what it is at this point.
Because you know what? Like they
Seen it all along.
planned for Lance all summer. The playbook, everything was for Lance to be able to go downfield, push the ball downfield. And here they go. They got back Jimmy Garoppolo. And he's just not going to be able to run that offense, man. He looks bad. And they window is closing, right? They window is closing. I don't know how many teams can stretch it.
If they don't pick that quarterback, it's just crazy because they got a solid team, man. They got a very good team.
Yeah, because if you miss on giving up 2 first-round picks, if you miss on Trey Lance,
how you gonna get that capital back to try to?
Because actually,
in the draft to get somebody.
If you think about it, they actually missed the year prior, right? Because Shanahan thought that he was going to get Kirk Cousins, right? That's what he was. Yep. That's what he was banking on, right? So he decided to go away from the quarterback his first year because he thought he's going to end up getting Kirk Cousins. So you miss there, and then if he do this and he miss again, and they don't go to the playoffs this year, I mean, we talking about KK. What about this? I can't go to 3, Jones. I'm about to do 3, Jones.
Well, I would say this. Though. Not getting Kirk Cousins is not. I won't tell you that's a total miss. And
but he planned to do it though. So he took.
But his plan not falling through.
His first draft he didn't go quarterback because he thought that following year he would be able to get Kirk Cousins.
But that's well, if that was his plan, maybe guys stepped in and said, "Listen, son, that's not the best plan."
I'm not going to do that to you.
I will not forsake you, my son.
I will not forsaken you like that. But then why was he forsaken instead of taking Justin Fields? And instead of Trey
because
Lance?
they wanted they were trying to hop up against the Falcons to get Trey Lance. That's all it was. All they wanted to do was get above the Falcons at that point.
I think honestly, I believe they liked Trey Lance more than Justin Fields. I believe.
I mean, they traded up to the second pick, so yeah.
And you know what? I like Justin, and I do. I'm not gonna hate on Justin at all. But you got to look at, and I hate to say this, but you do got to look at the history of Ohio State quarterbacks in the pros. You know what I'm saying? They have a long history of being college stars.
They telling me which column is built different this year.
No, hold on, but no.
That's what they telling me.
Because the Georgia gets crucified for letting Justin Fields go, and I said y'all don't understand. Justin Fields had a hard time reading defense. The Ohio State changed their playbook to sit over there to incorporate Justin Fields. To make sure that they put his strength over his defense.
I won't say that because they were a long time spread team before. Urban had been running the spread for a while before he even got here. True. I think he was not a pro style quarterback. He shouldn't have went to Georgia because he wasn't a pro style quarterback. Georgia was running a pro style offense. He shouldn't have went there, but he was a spread kind of a quarterback, dual threat quarterback. And even at Georgia, I ain't gonna lie, I think he should have been playing over that. What's that boy name that was
Jake Fromm? Jake Fromm, come on, man, y'all real with that? Y'all see?
Listen, man, where is he now?
He's selling insurance.
That's what I'm saying, man. He's selling his shoes. He's selling policies right about now, man. He couldn't throw that ball better than that boy then or now.
He's about to run for senator in Georgia. They take Herschel Walker's spot or something. I mean, what's going on?
Hey, Herschel got CTE. We seeing real live action CTE from Herschel Walker. But no, I mean at that time, like I said.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That is the truth. But go ahead.
No, but like I said, I wanted Justin Fields, but I'm gonna say this: Justin Fields is not it up in Chicago, or it's just the Chicago coach is not it. It's something going on. But right now, Justin Fields does not look like the Justin Fields.
I'm gonna tell you, Trey looks like a souped up Robert Griffin III, though. I mean, when you just look at his raw physical skills, he looks like Cam Newton on steroids who could throw the ball. So I can see why they were infatuated with him. You know, you just gotta, you know, figure out if he can do it in the pros. And then you had a guy like Wentz who came from the same program, who came from the same offense, who had success early on in the NFL. You say, well, maybe they prepared this kid who to me.
But he didn't play as much as Wentz did, though.
He didn't.
No, he didn't. Wentz came right out and played.
I mean, Lance is hurt. I mean, he just really was trying to get going, so we still don't even know what he's gonna bring.
Know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, he just got the nod, and he gets
might
hurt.
Be Jalen Hurts number 2. We never know.
You know, I just gotta wait on him. That's for sure.
I don't know if that was a dig or what.
Well, that
yeah. We get
I don't know if that was a shot.
For every 340 he put up, it can be you or anybody. When he put it up on me, I won that week too. That don't matter. Jalen, we with you.
Yeah, he won me a game and he lost me a game. Somebody else had. He had like
he won me games in fantasy for sure. Right, I double dip with him and Devontae.
We ain't all got to be losers on Mopey Monday. You know what I'm saying?
Lady E, right?
Yeah.
So Henry, was this the last Brady Rodgers duel? If it was, it's very sad the way it went out. What you think, Henry?
You know what? I'm hoping that maybe they'll meet in the playoffs again. Maybe, you know, I look at these two teams. I think, you know, we got another defensive masterpiece here, if you will. But both teams were Green Bay wasn't shorthanded. They're still trying to figure out their wide receiver spot. Tampa Bay was very, very shorthanded. But we saw the greats, you know, being for who Tom was throwing the ball to. He still 271, a touchdown. He had him in the game right there in the end, you know, with a potential chance to tie up. We saw Aaron throw it around 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he had a good game with whoever he throwing to outside. So a great game of the GOATs, you know what I'm saying? 2 modern day, definitely Hall of Famers, 2 of the greatest ones to ever do it. It was kind of a dud, but I enjoyed it. And I'm hoping that they'll get together, everybody be full strength. Green Bay maybe will materialize as a team, come together a little bit more. Some of those receivers will step up. Romeo Dobbs, if you guys don't know, you need to look at him. They may step up and maybe they'll meet in the playoffs, but you know, this may have been it. A-Rod did a wonderful job in the regular season. I want to see what they're gonna do in the postseason, though.
Yeah.
Hey, NFC South is a whole bunch of mids. That's all I'm gonna say. A whole bunch of mids.
I will. Go ahead, Mel.
No, I was gonna say what C. Henry said. You know, Tom, as far as you know, weapons and stuff. I mean, he got Godwin out. Julio Jones, he throwing to Russell Gage. You know, he had Gronk, and he throwing what's the good tight end? He really ain't.
Right.
Yeah, Cameron Brake. So
they throw to Gage.
Julio. So that's a hard game to gauge into. The defense is playing lights out right now, to be honest. So it's a good possibility. I think when everybody get things going, I think it got one more shot, and that'll be.
You better not count him out.
I think you'll see him again.
I tell you what, Julio need to call out because you need to put in his retirement papers.
Yeah, Julio need to go ahead and sit down, man. I was really
he need to call out.
Props that
Julio gonna put little flex on like the hot stuff on them hamstrings and rest up to the playoffs. He gonna try to run him into a ship. He may not play a regular season game no more.
He gonna retire. He gonna call out up like, I'm ready to come home.
Hey, listen, he
took off
the rest of the
year.
season gonna show up in the playoffs and look like T.O. did that one time when he broke his leg. And then he gonna ride off and get him a ship. That's all he needs.
Yeah. I thought he took off last year, but you know, this where they at right now with him, and that's just a little disappointing. You know, I thought maybe he's gonna be fresh legs and be ready to go. But Gronk, they're gonna take their time with him. They'll figure it out. They're not, what are they 2-1? So it's like they could have been 3-0 yesterday.
It's early.
They're still kind of chugging along, 2-1 in the wide open NFC.
I mean,
so
you saw the goal. He took him right down and scored, and just missed the 2-point conversion to try to take that thing in overtime. So, you know, they were just that close and playing out to be 3-0. So
I'm just gonna say this right now. Can the NFL start doing a class in the summer for bad clock management?
That's your staff. That's your coaching staff. You're supposed to have guys, quality control guys. You're supposed to let you know when you running out of time. When you
unless they ignore them. Unless they,
right.
man, watch out, get out of my way. Unless they
but you know, right now, a lot of except for these young guru offensive coordinators, but a lot of the other guys, they manage their team. So they waiting on those quality control guys to tell them things like, you need to throw a red flag, bro, because they watching it on the screen like we're watching, but up in the booth, and they could see that was, a red flag, because the dude caught the ball, he didn't catch the ball, whatever. They suppose that's what their jobs, man, and they, I don't know, because some people just maybe they got their little nephews on their sister's side of the family doing their job. They need to maybe get more serious about who they put up there to actually help them manage those games. Because I know I can speak for a few teams and teams that we know. They some bad clock management from one of our teams that we don't want to talk about right here, but. Their clock management, even yesterday throwing a red flag on a pass that wasn't caught, is that should have came from upstairs as quick as possible, man. And
but I'm gonna tell
you,
a lot.
In those cases
of reviews and things, I can understand that. But also, man, like for our coach, man, and it wasn't a case of review. He's not calling the offense. He's not calling the defense. To me, you are the quality control coach. What you did? What else are you doing? You ain't again. You not. So I'm trying to figure out if we gonna go for it on fourth down with 7 minutes to go, and you want to add more points and go up by more than 6. Then why you decide with 4 minutes to go you're gonna kick a field goal and be up by 6? I don't understand that. I don't.
Game management should be the head coach on the field, but those little things like the red flag should have been thrown, clock management. Reminder timeouts and things like that, because they do that in basketball all the time. They use those bench guys. They manage the game for the head coach. They're running up to him and say, "Hey, we only got one more timeout. Hey, call a timeout. He's gassed on the field. Whatever it is. Basketball. Their assistant coaches. They are very active in guiding the head coach. In football, it's just seemed a little bit of disconnection with that.
And I think when you look at basketball, that example you just used, you got your coaches are usually like they right there, they within arm reach, they within voice reach. With football, we got folks in the booth, we got folks. We don't even know if he got a direct line to the head coach. He may have a direct line to a wide receiver coach, an offensive coordinator. So I'm telling the offensive coordinator, hey, challenge. Offensive coordinator got to tell the coach, hey. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what type of levels, it goes to, because sometimes it be so many folks, everybody can't plug into, the head coach. I remember I was on some headphones one time, and it's like we had a switch for offense, switch for defense. You had to, switch it, and you only had to plug into one other person. So if you weren't, on the direct line to the head coach, you might not get that information or get that information in a timely manner.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Are we ready to acknowledge the Miami Dolphins?
Still too early.
Dang.
Jury's still out.
They can't even win, and it's too early off the win.
No, we just three games in.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to the clock management. The Bills could have won the game if it wasn't for that badass clock management that they had at that end of that game. That right there, that's why I brought that up, because I knew it was going to the Bills and the Dolphins, but that was one of the reasons.
Or they could have did it right to the T, spiked it right on time, tried that kicker right on out there, and he missed the kick like my kicker did 2 times. So I mean, we don't know. They could have won if Allen didn't dirtball. You know what I'm saying? The one pass to McKenzie in the end zone.
The pass. So Mayo, let me ask you this:
some plays to be made. I'm gonna give Miami some props because they did what they needed to do. I'm gonna give them some props.
No doubt.
And low key, I know Buffalo was beat up, but I think is it Micah Hyde who's out the rest of the season?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's those two.
And Poirier was out. Poirier was out.
2 safeties. That's going to be a big loss. And Miami, I mean,
Tre'Davious White didn't play. White didn't play.
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White didn't play.
Yeah, he come back. That made.
And the other corner broke his hand. He fractured his hand yesterday. So they down bad in the second.
Who was that? Kair?
Not Kair, the other one. The 6th round pick from 2 years ago.
Okay.
Him.
Yeah.
That started yesterday. He fractured his hand. So they gonna be dealing with
They
something.
got Rodgers.
Yeah, but Mayo, let me ask you: is it so much? Josh Allen supposed to make that throw.
Yeah. Josh.
He was wide open.
He I don't know what happened, man. I just literally
it almost looked like some point statement was going on.
Right. I was like, yo. I mean, to me, that was like the Josh Allen, 2 years ago.
Yeah, the rookie.
I just was like, whoa, that just wasn't something he do. Did you see the end of the game? After the game was over and everybody shaking hands, and Tua was consoling Josh Allen. Josh knew he left it on the field. He missed the opportunities. He left it on the field. It was just that, and Josh know it. And Tua, they was hugging, and Tua was just whispering, and Josh he was just about lost a deep family member or something like that. So that's a game that he's going to learn from, and he gotta stand and make the throw. It was a good throw that most guys will make, and especially you expect him to do. So, and then going back to Miami, the only reason why I said I'm not there yet with them, I gotta see we talking 17 games, and we haven't seen that out of Tua yet, and. Yesterday was a very good defensive game, and I stand because it was only one turnover and a fumble from Josh Allen. There were several, that they fumbled, but they got the ball back. But one lost turnover in that game, as low scoring it was and as hard hitting. Miami didn't even rush for 100 yards. I'm sorry. Tua only threw a buck 100, something.
186.
Right, didn't even hit 200 yards. It was a good hard-fought game, man. A good division rivalry, hard-fought game. It just came down to a few plays here and there. And, but I credit Miami, but it's tough to go down and play. And I really feel like they are a weather team that they do take advantage of them early games. I would like to have, if I was Miami for scheduling, I would like to have Buffalo later in the season, at home in Miami instead of us going to have to go to Buffalo when it's going to be cold. So that's the things with Miami. That's the team they have been just year in and year out, that as the year go on, they usually hot starts and stuff. For last year, they was really slow starting and turned it around for the first time in years. But I don't hate them. They're a good football team, and don't get me wrong. I got to wait to see a little bit more as the season builds, because that was a hard knock Tua took in. Tua shouldn't even been back in that game, yo.
Do we need to talk about that?
Whoa.
Do we need to talk about that?
Yeah.
Concussion protocol to get back into that game.
He didn't. There is a such thing as a delayed concussion response. So he's technically concussed. I wouldn't be surprised to hear about it later on down the week, because
walk back to the huddle. He got up. He was like this wobbly.
Breaking news.
Wobbly, and then he dropped down, and then that's when they brought him off the field, and then they took him back to the locker room, not the one to sit under the tent type of protocol. He went to the locker room.
Breaking
and
news.
Then they brought him back.
Miles Garrett.
How did he pass that?
Miles Garrett Porsche flipped over several times on Ohio State Highway.
I just seen that earlier.
They said it was described as minor, but I guess we gotta wait for that one.
I'm saying like he okay then, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But ain't no way you walk, you get up and you just it ain't your back.
Dude, he
your back.
He was going like this with his head shaking it. He walked up and then he just dropped. And then that's when they say, "Oh, let's get him off." They took him to the locker room. How did he?
Yeah, because it was halftime. It was halftime.
Yeah,
he went before. He didn't go before.
So
he didn't go right before.
Yeah, he went right before halftime. So there is a thing called a delayed concussion response, and they literally, a lot of football players hit their heads, get up, feel fine, but they'll start feeling the symptoms of a concussion the following day. And then that's when they'll take them back, and that's when they'll diagnose them with a concussion. So he probably passed everything right then and there, and it could be a delayed response. So I won't be surprised to hear if he is on the injury report, because of that, because you can start feeling those concussion symptoms 2 to 3 days after an incident has happened. So it's just a delayed response. So he can more than likely pass it.
I think he felt it right after when he got up. He felt it when he got up.
They tried to skirt around.
He was shaking his head back and forth, trying to shake his brain back in place, and he wobbled and fell. He was feeling it.
I too believe he was concussed, but he wanted to get back in that game, and he blamed it on his back. But I'm gonna tell you what, I also believe that he probably won over whoever doubted him amongst his fan base, whoever, you know what I'm saying, had any doubts or any questions about him. He definitely won them over by getting back in that game, showing some heart, and taking him to the win. He didn't have a big game.
That's not a time to show heart, in my opinion, from a concussion.
No, it might not. This young man, 22, 23 years old. He don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? He don't know no better.
I understand why, because that's their concern with him.
But he do know that Teddy B out there, and if Teddy B, if you give him an opportunity, Teddy B
came out and was like,
steal that job.
They probably went and begged him to get back in the game after with Teddy.
Yeah, because Teddy Bridgewater was not that answer at that point in time.
No, Teddy ain't been the answer from day one when he came in.
Give him some aspirin. He all right.
I don't know what they saw on Teddy.
No, but you got to give him props though, because when he came in for Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, I think that was just the offense for him because
that got him paid. That got him paid.
That's what it still don't mean he was a good quarterback.
It got him paid.
He showed up, made play in the right game at the right time. He did his thing. I wasn't high on him coming out.
That's what Jameis thought he could do, but I digress.
Hey, we're not gonna even talk about that because I think the Falcons have broke the
you gonna put Jameis on Teddy B level?
Hey,
that's what he thought he could do.
Did you not see that game? Did you not see that game?
He got some fractures in his back or something, right? Ain't something wrong with him?
So no,
can't see.
I thought he had the LASIK. He had the LASIK already.
I'm about to say the LASIK went bad or something. I don't know, man.
He can't see because of his back.
Yeah, he had a 30 for 30 moments for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, man.
He thought it was crab toss like last week. He don't know, man. He don't know no better.
All right, they said it was a back problem. It wasn't no concussion.
Yeah, that's what they said. He hurt his back. Yeah. That's one of Mike Tyson
back like that.
Broke my back type thing. But
you ain't shaking your head like that because your back hurt.
All right, man. We're gonna come back with some fantasy.
Red Zone in the lab. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the lab with Deuce.
Be quiet.
Uh-oh.
Wasn't me.
I was quiet.
It wasn't me.
All right,
that was my son.
I know. Let's talk some fantasy, man. Some people put up some big points yesterday. Jalen Hurts, of course, was one of them. Monte Smith, Josh Allen, those guys put up some good points. But what you got, Henry, as far as some updates for fantasy? You got anything?
Man, always got some updates on fantasy, man. First and foremost, man, we got to talk about some injuries, man. Some guys who may be down on your team. You know, we got Mac Jones who went down. I don't know what extent injury he had. I don't know if it was to his lower leg.
They was treating him like Byron Leftwich at Marshall.
Yeah, they did lift him up. They did lift him up. Also, Dalvin Cook left the game against the Lions after he put up 96 on a touchdown. He finally injured his shoulder. He couldn't have did that earlier in the game. No, we ain't wishing for no injuries, but he left the game last week. DeAndre Swift left that game also with the shoulder injury. David Montgomery in Chicago left that game as well. Still waiting to hear what he was what he injured. And the receiver out of the Chargers, Jalen Guyton, hurt his leg ACL, out for the year. So let's talk about some waiver guys that we can look at in terms of picking some guys up, being some replacements for some guys. First and foremost, let's start with in Jacksonville, man, Trevor Lawrence. He might be building on something down there. Christian Kirk is making touchdowns. He's got a solid running game with James Robinson. So you definitely might need to pick up Trevor Lawrence if you're having some problems at your quarterback spot. Another name that you might, look at is Matt Ryan. Had a bounce back game against the Kansas City. I almost said Royals, Chiefs against the Kansas City Chiefs. In case again, he's not a premier guy. We got some bye weeks coming up, week 6. A guy that you may want to stream, or if you're having some problems, or if you need to fill in a quarterback like Mac Jones, for a quarterback like Mac Jones, maybe Matt Ryan's a guy. At the running back spot, we talked about David Montgomery. He had his backup had a great game filling in for him. Khalil Herbert had over 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's probably going to be everyone's number one waiver priority pick this week. So definitely, take a look at him. Also, Alexander Madison at the Vikings. He always does a great job filling in for Dalvin Cook. So you definitely want to take a look, for him as well. At the wide receiver spot, Michael Gallup is coming back, I believe. I don't know if he's going to be active tonight, but he's going to be coming back very, very soon. So definitely look on your waiver wires for him and see if he's available. Josh Palmer, 6 catches, 99 yards. He's kind of working as that wide receiver 3 for the Chargers. Jalen Guyton, like I just said, blew his knee out. Keelan Allen is still injured, still working with that hamstring injury. So he's a guy that you might want to look at. And last but not least, man, at the tight end spot, man, I'm gonna give some love to the Jets, man. Mr. Tyler, man, he's balling, man. 8 catches, 80 yards, 16 fantasy points. I ain't even know his name a week ago, but he keep popping up at the top of everybody's scoring list. So if you have some guys having some problems at the tight end spot on your team, look for him. And David Njoku, Thursday night, 17 points, 9 catches, I think over 80 yards, maybe even over 100 yards. Big game for him. Seems to be the number 2 receiver out there in that offense. There's a couple guys, man, to help the fantasy squads, man, have success, man, the rest of the season.
Good work. Good work.
One thing I was great work, man.
One thing I was it kind of baffled me because a lot of times, when you think about wide receiver duos like Higgins and Chase and those guys got like 2 wide receivers that can get first couple rounds. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I kind of stray away from it a little bit when I'm drafting. But how often has, like, when we think about Cheetah and Penguin, they are like 3 and 5, I think, in fantasy scoring points. Like, how often does that happen? I mean, even last year, Higgins and Chase wasn't that close.
Statistically, you don't see a top 5 happen a lot, but we'll see a top 12 duo, a top 15 duo, generally in a pass happy offense. Now, to your point, I'm sorry to cut you off, E, but real quick to do some point. Last year, dealing with Chase and T. Higgins, if you listen to my show, I was really, really big on T because T had a very, very solid year. He was very, very close in targets to Chase. He was very, very productive and very, very efficient. Maybe even more efficient than Chase. He didn't have the big games that Chase did, but people forget T. Higgins also missed 3 games last year. I think was wide receiver 12 or 13. So
and he had 4. He was tackled, I think, 4 times at the 1 yard line.
At the goal line.
Exactly. Yeah. So you say he gets into the end zone once or twice in those cases. You put him his normal production into 1 or 2 of those games that he missed. We're talking about a top 10 receiver there. So a guy that you could probably get 3 or 4 rounds after Chase. You know what I mean? So, and we're still seeing that trend this year.
Mm-hmm. It's another deal. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna what T. Henry was talking about. I mean, even when I first started playing fantasy, that been a trend for a couple of while. A lot of people were against it because, you know, when it came down to the bye weeks, you lose that type of duel. But, you know, we used to call it a handicap. Like, always get, you know, even when it comes down to injuries, always pick up whoever's backup to have on your bench if you feel like you've been seeing a combination of both of them on the field at the same time, because you just never know. And then you always used to put them into the flex position. You know, that backup, because sometimes that backup gets more touches than your actual starter. But it's always just about looking for consistency. You know, who is giving what duo is giving you that consistency? How are they playing off of each other? You know what I mean? Because it's that double point. And sometimes they'll get the quarterback. If you can do a Joe Burrow with a T. Higgins and, you know, a Chase, bam, you set right there. If you can easily end up with that, but that's rare. But I have seen it. But you can easily end up like that too, as well, just with the quarterback and the wide receivers, or just even with the running back. So it just depends on how you want to, but always just look for that consistency.
Now with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I will say I was a little misguided on that. I didn't know. I expected a little bit more run-centric offense from Mike McDaniel coming over from San Francisco, and I didn't know if they were going to be able to support two big-time offensive targets. Through 3 games,
he had to adjust to the personnel that he has. All of us don't have that luxury. But go ahead, Mayo. What was you saying about fantasy?
I say, are you saying that for somebody
that about fantasy? What was you saying about fantasy, Mayo?
No, I was gonna say that dual threat, man, because it just depends on the offense. If they are throwing offense, then you know we gotta talk about like jettison Adam Thielen when he was more healthier. Yeah. Then that was a very productive duel. So it just depends on the offense itself. The Rams, you know, when they had Robert Woods was healthy, him and Cup, you know, they was highly productive together. So it just depends on the offense, and I would not be afraid if I can't get Cup, you know, early when they was like that tandem. Then yeah, I was looking for Woods like in the 4th or 5th round. You know that would be probably in my lineup in the starting lineup. Say Adam Thielen, same way, we're gonna be in my lineup. T. Higgins was gonna be in my lineup because those teams like to throw the ball. So and even Dallas, go with Dallas when Gallup was healthy and your boy from Cleveland there, Cooper, yeah, they was producing together. So if they just teams that throw the ball, you can't shy away from that.
Washington about to have some nice, you know what I'm saying, receiving numbers.
They had all day yesterday, but
you know saying, y'all keep losing like y'all losing. Y'all gonna be throwing that ball, that rock all day.
For fantasy purposes, it's gonna be right. You can come back if you got one, you know, one of those 2 in your lineup. You know what I mean? And now with Curtis Samuel, so I would never shy away from any of that. You know, I would definitely go if the wide receiver, the WR1, I would definitely be looking at that WR2 or WR1B, whatever you want to call it. I would definitely be fighting. I wanted T. Higgins on my squad for sure because I knew, like you said, what he was doing last year, it was phenomenal what he was doing, and I didn't really see that with Waddle and Tyreek, but man, Waddle,
they gotta just build that chemistry right now. You got to think that he just got there. Once that chemistry gets together, then
they are eating. Oh my gosh, they eating.
I know we didn't kind of talk about this game, but we're actually doing really good on time. I'm really so proud of us.
That's you, man. That's all on you.
I'm really proud. Let's talk about the Raiders. You have.
Do we have to?
Yeah,
look like that.
You have Adams coming out saying he's very disappointed. They should be playing better. The players are starting to talk. What's going on with the Raiders? Because I was high on them coming into the year. Are we going to give them that it's early pass?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I'll be honest with you. You got to, because it is week 3, but in the same time, it's still going to be question marks even after that. Because again, Devontae Adams came from Green Bay, and we know what Devontae Adams can do. Now, you got 3 games in right now. Is the connection with him and Carr just not going to be there at this point? Because there should be some type of chemistry at this point. It should be. I'm sorry. You got this top. Y'all went and spent all this money on this man, made him the highest paid wide receiver in the league, and y'all don't know how to use him. Y'all don't know how to get him the ball. Y'all don't know how to get him incorporated, because when I looked at the score the other day and seen that they had a big fat 0 and it was already in the second half and then second quarter, I started questioning, because I was like, okay, is Derek Carr regressing back to the Derek Carr that we first thought he was, or what's going on? Like, again, it's question mark still there. Yes, it's early, it's week 3, but I'm still saying you have a big name target like that, y'all should be having chemistry by now.
I mean, he's dialing to the dude. What's his name? The Mac guy.
Mac Hollins this past week.
He's dialing to him. I mean, our teams. I didn't watch the game. I just kind of watched the highlights. But our team's doubling them. I mean, I need to go back and watch the condensed version to see what's going on up there. But I don't know.
Vegas. We can say it's early, and I'll give them that. But with that being said, I got to put the butt in there. They in a tough division.
Yeah.
And they were the team that was in the playoffs last year. We talk about how good we think the Chargers going to be and what we think Denver's going to be.
Yeah.
Were in the playoffs last year. They invested a lot of money in Devontae Adams. They went out and got Chandler Jones as well to put him outside of Max Crosby. Now, even if you don't have everything all together, with those players I just named, Carr, Waller, Renfro, Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones. I mean, NBA state of mind. Max Crosby. You got to win one of these games. You shouldn't be looking up at the Lions and some of these other teams with one win and wondering what happened. And you was in the playoffs last year and you added Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. So I can see we got some questions. Who are you, David Carr? Who are you? We went and got your homeboy from college. You know what I'm saying? Gave him $100 million or whatever we gave him. Like, what's going on here? So then we got some remnants of the previous coaching regime and the previous GM regime. They may have some more continued house cleaning to do. And don't forget about the emails and everything that's going on there. Ain't nobody talking about that, but maybe it's some remnants of some organizational stuff that they need to clean up there over in Las Vegas, because otherwise there's no reason why they 0-3 right now.
You hit it right on the nail. They were in the playoffs last year, so that means they got a more difficult schedule this year. So teams ain't taking them lightly, and they did a lot of off-season moves to try to improve that team. So ain't nobody just gonna walk in and just say, well, this is the regular below 500 Raiders team. They actually expecting them to be a highly efficient team. So they going in and they battling them, and they not getting it done. And I think it's Derek Carr. I think right now it's it's on him on the offensive side of the ball to make some of these plays, because Josh McDaniel is quarterback friendly. I can't say he's not. He's quarterback friendly. And I thought that would be a good match, in the offseason, him and, Derek Carr. And so far
they are an incomplete team. Now they do need some offensive line work, and they do need some work on their back seven as well.
Running game is not consistent.
You was up 22-0 over Kyler before he took a look at the tablet for 10 minutes and you lost that one.
Reading is fundamental.
Tennessee got you, so I don't know, man.
Reading is fundamental.
If you don't quit saying that, like I said, I'm blaming KK on this one. KK got to get it right. Do you want to say?
Hey,
got to get it right.
Hey,
KK spell KK.
The hardest working man. The hardest working man in Gaithersburg is in the building, man. Slim. When we say KK, we talking about Cliff. And when we say K, we talking about Kyler Murray.
Hey,
what's going on, man? Working hard, man.
Man, I'm telling you.
So look, I'm gonna give you some heat, as soon as you get in here, right? They paid David Carr, right? They extended him. They paid him, right?
Yeah.
We do we remember what happened with Jay Cutler? Do we remember that?
Like, what you mean? What happened to Jay Cutler?
Josh McDaniels came in, shipped him out, right? when he went to the Broncos. We all remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this doesn't work with David Carr, how is this going to look on Josh McDaniels as a head coach?
The same way the last stint looked on him as a head coach. ain't nothing changed, man. I mean, some guys just know how to call plays. You know, it's a lot more to do than just calling plays when you know manning up, you know, all units and everything that comes along with being a head coach. So,
I mean, what you think? Go ahead, Henry.
I almost feel like he married to this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he most definitely is.
Especially with Devontae.
Yo, they just gave
bringing Devontae.
Yeah, no doubt.
He can't move Jay. I mean, he can't move Carr. He gotta work through it. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if he learned anything from last time, he moved Jay and he ended up with, you know, his brother in Christ, but his brother they both got fired. So.
Yeah, they both got fired. Yeah, one miracle year, and they still ain't believe.
So he better, you know, work this out. But
I'm kind of saying this to say is that has he been blind by the success of Tom Brady? Like, can Josh McDaniels actually see a quarterback?
Ooh.
Or did he actually extend Carr because of what happened in Denver?
I say the second option because, again, Derek Carr has always had a question mark on him. And again, like I said earlier, there shouldn't you got a top receiver in Devontae Adams. I mean, a lot of teams will want Devontae Adams right now. Let's be honest. And again, through 3 games, Devontae Adams, this is the second time he has said something. So to me, it's either A, coaching, play call, or again, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are just not mixing it up together as well. You got weapons around you. We seen what the Raiders can do last year without Devontae Adams. Now you got Devontae Adams. There should have been a very huge leap at this point with that offense. And if the offense ain't shaking and grooving like it is, now it's about time. Who you know, we can't always place the blame game on the offense or the, you know, the head coach or whatever the case may be. We got to start looking at both. Is it really Derek Carr? Like, is it Derek Carr right now? Or is it, you know, offense? Is it the head coach? So it really has to look at it at this point because the Raiders should be something great right now. Okay, we didn't see. I'm just Slim. Don't give me that look because I'm just saying when you go out there and you make off, and I'm just to go for anybody. When you go out there and you make offensive splashes like you do, we should see a difference. I.e., I'm gonna take the Chargers because that loss against the Jaguars against the Chargers. Now we really gonna start putting a question mark. What y'all made all that offensive movement? What's going on?
And defense.
This the Jaguars. Don't get me wrong, the Jaguars are up and coming, but y'all got routed by the Jaguars.
Yeah, shouldn't have been routed.
Yeah. I think why the game was so lopsided was more injuries with the Chargers. So I'm gonna wait to give them their question mark. But with the Raiders, like I thought they would have the firepower to be better than a lot of other AFC teams, but like I thought that defense was going to be an issue. And it seems like it will be an issue. And they have held up a lot better than I expected. But, like, when the rubber meets the road, that defense ain't really holding no water for that offense to even find its rhythm. Because as much as they have a chemistry together, they got to find that chemistry together in the Raiders uniform. Like, that's a Fresno State chemistry they had. Yeah. So it might take 4 or 5 games for them to really be clicking and it not be Derek forcing it to him, things of that nature. Because you would think that Derek would just be letting the offense flow until him and Devontae start clicking. And then, like, randomly, one week they just start, you know, throwing back shoulders and doing all of that. But, you know, when you see Derek Carr might be trying to force it to Devontae early on, it worked for him week 1. Even though I think they still lost, but they were productive in that loss. And now you see them keep doing this. Like, you still got Hunter, still got Darren Waller. Y'all got 2 or 3 running backs. None of them might not be world beaters, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all could still, you know, devote more time to that run game. So,
Is Hunter Renfrow hurt? Is Hunter Renfrow hurt?
Yeah, I think he missed last game.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say
it's
a process.
maybe it's not has nothing to do with talent. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying, the culture. You know, Devontae's been in a winning culture the last 7-8 years. So, you know, it ain't really all been about, you know, what we have. I mean, they've had some talent in Green Bay, no doubt, but just the way they go about doing things and the way they handle their business, it may be a little bit different. And it may be, he may be able to say, hey, I'm looking around here and we got
this ain't what it's supposed to look like.
Culture. It ain't about the players. It ain't the gyms and the Jones or the X's and the O's. We just ain't taking care of our business like
it ain't supposed to look like this.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. I mean,
go
ahead, Mayo.
Yeah, I'm saying I throw another. You gave two scenarios. I throw a third one. Was the only choice was to keep Derek Carr, because it's not like quarterbacks are growing off the tree out there.
Yeah,
and he's a solid quarterback in this league. So was it a good thing to go ahead and part ways with him, or just go ahead and extend him out and just see what they can do, and then bringing in Devontae to give them that. Hopefully they'll build that chemistry. Like Slim said, that was a Fresno State chemistry. You know, they got to build it together. But for me, there's definitely still a lot. I mean, we talked about, kind of sliding over with Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell. They, you saw this week, Kirk was able to spread the ball out a little bit better and not focus all on Jettis. So some of this stuff is just chemistry stuff that's got to sort out. I mean, I didn't have the Raiders winning that division at all. I really still feel like it's a Chiefs division to lose. But I think the Chargers did gain some ground. And I'm not ready to judge Chargers off of yesterday's game because they have some massive injuries right now, including their quarterback playing with some bad rib cage. So I'm not really I'm not gonna pile on them at all right now. Their top receiver, out, and so he got one weapon and he got a bunch of young dudes he's trying to work it with. So, but
he should have probably took that
was
game
he the only
off
option?
yesterday.
Was to keep him or move on? And if that was me, I would have kept Derek Carr. I wouldn't have been like trying to, because you can't find nobody out there. It's not
that's something to kind of look forward to. Like that's something to kind of look forward to. But I think the Raiders' job is like the perfect job, right? Because you don't have pressure. People that have pressure to win is people that need to put people in the stands and people that need to make money. That's not ever going to be an issue at that stadium, like ever. That team could be that team. Yeah, that's an event stadium. That stadium is always going to be sold out. It doesn't matter if the Raiders are good or not. Just like they say, those tickets are so expensive because the casinos are buying them out. Season tickets. So that I think when it comes to being in a place where winning is important. And don't get me wrong, the Davises is important, but they gave Chucky 10 years, right? So it's not like it's going to be a place where you're going to be pressured to win because of the team and the fans. Because I don't think they have a real. I don't want to say I don't think they have a real strong fan base, but the people that's filling them fans are not all Las Vegas. I'm not going to say Oakland Raiders.
Fan base.
I'm not going to say Oakland Raiders. I'm going to say Las Vegas Raiders because there's a difference between the two. Some did travel, some did agree, and a lot didn't. And that's a big difference when you're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders and the Oakland Raiders.
I think a lot traveled. That franchise, they moved like about 10 times. Went to LA, Oakland, LA, back to Oakland, and now they're in Vegas. So and the fans travel with them.
Vegas is only about an hour, 2 hours away from Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah.
It's about 3
hours. About 3 hours drive. About 2 hour drive. But it's worth the drive. It's worth the drive. And so to me, it's still logistically, they still packing up and rolling down, to Vegas for that team.
Yep.
So
Yep. Let's get into this Monday night game before we wrap it up. Will there be, he brought it up earlier, but Mayo, will there be a quarterback controversy if Cooper Rush has a good game and they able to pull this out?
Hell no. And that's no slight on E. I get it. I get what you're saying.
I'm being funny. I like
it's Dak is no way in trouble. No way. Dak is not in trouble. And was not all Dak either. You know, so offense coordinator, they shaking it up with the weapons and stuff like that. But no, that's to me, that's like one of the last places right now I would think there'll be some quarterback controversy.
Hey, this is Jerry Jones
and Cooper Rush.
about.
Jerry.
He's gonna create his own controversy.
That's why I said this is Jerry Jones. He's
gonna create his own controversy.
But it's about national media. They'll ride it because the three teams that they talk about is the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the New York Yankees. So they're gonna talk about it nationally, but will it really mean anything? No. No.
Go ahead, Slim.
Like Mayo said, Jerry definitely could put his foot in his mouth after one of these games. Cooper Rush keep winning, but far as like it actually being like a real threat for Dak to come back healthy and not play the very first game, no, I don't see it. Like I think Cooper Rush could be undefeated when Dak's ready to come in. You paid this man all this money and stuff like that, like.
But hold on, Slim, hold on. Again, we're gonna go a little bit back a little bit, just real quick. Remember, he had Troy Aikman. Jerry Jones loved him some Troy Aikman. You see how long Romo stayed the quarterback. Okay, now when we get to Dak, you see how he didn't want to pay Dak. You see how it was always a question mark on when he was gonna pay Dak. I really feel that was pushed by his son. And that they pushed that out to pay Dak that money. Again, now all of a sudden you get Cooper Rush out here. Cooper Rush have one game, and now Jerry Jones is sitting over here talking because he got his own little talk show. So he more than likely talked on his little talk show and thinking that it's going to make it to be that quarterback controversy. I really don't think Jerry Jones want him a Dak. If he can find him another Troy Aikman or Tony Romo or two in combined, he will pick them over Dak.
See, my thing with that, Jerry, like we just said, Jerry, he starts controversy. He feel like that's because they're listening to the noise.
Yep.
Dallas is those teams, one of the teams that listens to the noise. And Jerry likes to do that to stir the pot so they can hear the noise. Jerry will go to the locker room and he'll probably be like, oh, good game, pissed off, and then go out next day and then get on the show and then stir the pot. That's what he does, and he does that for attention. That's why I say it's a thing to talk about.
That's his brand, though.
Right.
That's not even like attention. I don't think that's just his brand.
Yeah,
like he doesn't need attention. He's gonna eat. I mean, he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. That's all his. That's him. That's his brand.
He brought his yacht to Miami, and everybody knew that was Jerry Jones's yacht. Okay, he don't need attention. He's Jerry Jones. The issue is like, how far is he going to push it, and how far is Steven going to let him keep pushing? That's the issue.
See, I think for a while, like I want to say a few seasons now, several seasons now, I feel like Steven Jones is the frugal one who don't want to spend no money. I think
that's how I feel.
I think Jerry pays his guys. Like he'll pay a guy. I think Jerry been wanted to pay that. He would have been paid that right then and there. He paid Jalen Smith, and a couple 2 seasons later, he couldn't move laterally no more. So I think Jerry would have paid that, but I think Steven is the one that's trying to be more level-headed, and I think
they've been in salary cap hell for years when Jerry was doing it. But I think the thing is they've been in salary cap hell.
I agree with Slim. I think it was more Jerry has been the guy who wants to pay. I think Steven has been the one that's trying to rail him back and not spend that money. I think it was Steven who didn't want to pay Dak, not Jerry. I think Jerry wanted to pay. And that's why I feel like his attention thing is because Steven's trying to so hardly finally get this thing under control.
He's never
it's kind of it's an inner battle.
He's never going to be his father. He's never going to be his father.
Yeah, but I'm saying he ain't living
but even that, I don't think it's. I think it's Jerry. Jerry is making those decisions for him to be level-headed and for him to be like, all right, we're not going to do it. Don't make it think of like Steven is like outwitting him to do this. You know what I'm saying? Jerry is ultimately going to have the last say.
He's not outwitting. He's just finally giving in to asking what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. But Jerry is still making that final. Like he's not going to. It's not because of the thing is that yes, they haven't been in salary cap, hell or whatever, but they got all this money that they ain't doing nothing with, and they got holes on their team. So now Jerry can be like, well, yeah, look, this is Steven's fault. I mean, they've done that. Jerry has done that multiple times. He's put stuff on Steven multiple times.
Yeah,
right.
But Steven was the one that had to
to
calm him down, though. Yeah, but
right.
Steven
It's because of Steven where they are right now.
Yeah, he has to. But then they have holes and they got money and ain't doing nothing with it. Go ahead, Henry.
I feel like, man, we gotta. This is a real life scenario playing out right before our eyes, man. Steven watching his dad, man, get a little bit old.
Real life TV.
Yep.
And
reality TV.
Jerry was okay. He hasn't been the best GM anyway. In his soundest of mine. So you put some years on him. Jerry was an older middle-aged man when I was watching football, and I became an older middle-aged man. So he old now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of want to say this. All his Hall of Famers were draft picks, right? I mean, if you take out Dion, you take out T.O.
outside of Dion,
he wasn't drafting them.
No. I'm just saying, as far as like him like signing people and spending big money on the free agents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their whole offensive line.
It ain't really been nobody since my man from Miami though. The coach left though. Really, I mean,
so for me, the way I look at Jerry is when feels like his team is a piece or two away, Jerry's going to spend that money to go get that player. But since he's been letting his son run the reins, they don't do that. They all about draft.
Well, but Slim, you got to understand too, when they were doing that, guess what happens? They always end up in a play or go home situation. How many times has he played against Washington? How many times has he played that against Philly? How many times he has played that against the Giants? Even when they did that, they went out there and made those big splashes, but it ended up backfiring on them at the end to where they couldn't make those type of moves. Steven had to come in to calm that down because, again, that wasn't Jerry Jones going back into the first round drafting that offensive line. That was Steven.
That was
Steven.
Knowing
knowing what they were needing.
But that O-line,
all the way back to what's the linebacker right now? That was Steven.
Jalen Smith.
That was Steven. Travis Frederick was Steven.
Yep.
No, I'm not about Parsons.
All of that's great.
No, Parsons probably was Jones.
But I'm talking about number 90 right now.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
But
even all of that's
Travis Lawrence, that was Steven. Zach Martin, that was Steven. All that was Steven.
Michael Parsons was Jerry. Michael Parsons was Jerry. Yeah, that's a Jerry type pick.
I'm saying is Steven. So they were at one extreme with Jerry. At least with the extreme that Jerry was in when he had the coaches in the building, they was winning with that extreme way that Jerry was doing things, spending the money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Jerry don't have the coaches and he's spending that money, that's when you start to see, Jerry's not a real GM. Like he just be taking the credit for great coaches that he had that were, in charge of personnel as well. But now Steven jumps to the other extreme and it's the same result. So now, you're drafting well and you're not in cap hell. So you have money, but again, you're being frugal with it. You're not spending it. So it's like they're supposed to meet in the middle. Know when it's time to spend that money, but also build your team, mainly through the draft, which Steven has done, but he hasn't done the opposite side either.
Right.
So I just think they just jump from one extreme to the other.
All right, Henry, last quick take with this one, and we go to the final thought.
Yeah, real quick. I think you got a great point, Slim. They got to meet in the middle, but I think the problem is that even with Steven having periodic good draft picks, they not having good drafts.
Mm-hmm.
They having one guy out of a draft. Like we look at the old school when they was winning. Some of them Hall of Famers was like third, fourth picks. They was getting 3 or 4 impact players a draft, and that's how they ended up one player away because they got all these other pieces there. They one player away. It's been a while since they've been really one player away. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be eager to see how they kind of work this out. But they don't want no controversy. And if it is a controversy, send that to wherever you want to send them to. And I'll guarantee you, they probably gonna have more success than the Dallas Cowboys.
The calendar says that summer is ending soon, but we're still outside. So when it's time to hop in your ride, make sure you book the best mobile detailing service in the DMV, Miles Detailing. Call 240-273-4018 or contact on Instagram at Miles Detailing to book your service today. Mention Red Zone in the Lab podcast for 10% off detail services only. Ride in style with Miles. Detailing, that is.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce.
All right, man. This is Slim's final thoughts. Before I get into it, just want to show my appreciation for the rest of the Red Zone DC crew for holding it down. I've been out, you know what I'm saying? Work been kind of having me tied up. But we back today. And my final thought is more, pertaining to life. Being as though we are imperfect beings in this chaotic world. I think it's important that we all strive to just maintain on a daily basis and not find reasons to complain about anything, because complaining ain't going to help your situation anyways. And the other thing is that, in order to do what we want to do in life, we got to do what we have to first. And, peace and blessings to all. Appreciate everybody, pulling up for another episode of Red Zone DC live show. Y'all know the crew. This is what we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that, Slim.
Yep.
You
Miss you,
spoke to the
Slim.
heart. You spoke to the heart right there.
Already.
It's too much going on to be getting into the negatives of stuff that you can't even control.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Appreciate that, bro. We all appreciate y'all, man. Of course, we thank y'all for watching. We thank y'all for listening. In the descriptions, you have all of our @, Twitter Spaces hosts. You have all of our @. You have all of our podcast links. You have C. Henry's Anchor link. All of that is in the descriptions. Check it out. Subscribe to everything you can subscribe. Follow all of us on Spaces. Get that good content. Lions, Falcons, and the Commanders. This is Red Zone DC in the Lab live show. We appreciate y'all. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Enters the Lab live show will be airing Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head over to www.redzoneinthelab.com